his aide Cato, and their rolling arsenal, the Black Beauty. On police records, a wanted criminal, the Green Hornet is really Britt Reed.
Before the Batmobile became a household name, there was another crime-fighting machine that prowled the streets with equal menace. The Black Beauty, driven by martial arts legend Bruce Lee, wasn't just a car, it was a rolling arsenal disguised as luxury. Today we're counting down 20 bizarre facts about television's most underrated superhero vehicle that'll make you wonder why this beast never got the recognition it deserved. Fact 20. The paint job alone cost a fortune. The Black Beauty's iconic midnight black finish wasn't achieved with a simple spray gun and an afternoon's work. Dean Jeffries, the legendary customizer tasked with building this automotive marvel, applied 30 coats of metal flake and pure black-green pearl essence lacquer to the vehicle's exterior, each layer meticulously hand-rubbed to achieve an impossibly deep, mirror-like gloss that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. This painstaking process consumed a significant portion of the car's $50,000 budget, an astronomical sum in 1966 that would translate to roughly $470,000 in today's currency. The paint application alone took weeks to complete, with each coat requiring careful drying time and precise preparation before the next layer could be added. Jeffries understood that the Green Hornet's vehicle needed to exude an aura of mystery and danger, and the hypnotic depth of that black finish accomplished exactly that, making the car appear almost supernatural as it glided through nighttime scenes. The luxurious finish served a dual purpose beyond mere aesthetics, and it reinforced the notion that Britt Reed, the Green Hornet's civilian identity, was a wealthy newspaper publisher who could afford such automotive extravagance. Television audiences in the 60s had never seen anything quite like it, and the paint job became so iconic that every subsequent replica and tribute car has attempted to recreate that distinctive, almost liquid-looking black sheen with varying degrees of success. Fact 19. It was almost 19's. Feat of pure intimidation. The Chrysler Imperial crown that formed Black Beauty's foundation measured just under 19 feet in length, making it one of the longest production sedans available in America during the mid-60s. Dean Jeffries deliberately chose this land yacht specifically because its imposing dimensions conveyed power and presence, qualities essential for a vehicle that needed to rival the recently unveiled Batmobile, while maintaining a more refined, sophisticated appearance befitting a newspaper magnate's secret crime-fighting persona. The car sat remarkably low to the ground despite its massive bulk, creating a predatory, streamlined silhouette that enhanced its sinister appearance and made it look like it was perpetually crouched and ready to pounce on unsuspecting criminals. To further emphasize the limousine-like proportions, Jeffries extended the greenhouse sail panel by 14 inches, stretching the roofline beyond the C-pillar and creating an illusion of even greater length that made the car appear custom-built rather than modified from a production vehicle. This extension also provided additional interior space for the complex control systems and weaponry that would be installed throughout the passenger compartment. The sheer size of the vehicle presented unique challenges during filming, particularly in tight urban environments, where navigating narrow streets and executing precision driving maneuvers required exceptional skill from the stunt drivers who piloted it through chase sequences. Modern viewers watching reruns might not immediately appreciate just how massive this machine was compared to contemporary vehicles. But standing next to the surviving example at the Peterson Automotive Museum reveals its truly imposing scale. Fact 18. Dean Jeffries built it after turning down the Batmobile. In one of Hollywood's great what-if scenarios, Dean Jeffries was actually the first customizer approached to build the iconic Batmobile for the Batman television series. However, Jeffries declined the offer because the studio demanded an impossibly tight deadline that would have forced him to rush the work and compromise his exacting standards of quality and functionality, a decision that ultimately sent the project to his rival, George Barris, who famously completed the Batmobile in just 3 weeks using a pre-existing Lincoln Futura concept car as the foundation. When producer William Dozier called Jeffries in early 1966 with another opportunity, this time to create the Green Hornet signature vehicle, Jeffries jumped at the chance to prove what he could accomplish when given adequate time and resources to execute his vision properly. Dozier had been impressed by Jeffries' previous work and his reputation for creating fully functional, mechanically sophisticated television cars, rather than just pretty props that looked good on camera but couldn't actually perform. The Black Beauty became Jeffries' answer to the Batmobile, demonstrating his philosophy that television cars should be real, working machines with genuinely operational gadgets rather than relying solely on camera tricks and editing to create the illusion of functionality. Unlike the Batmobile's flamboyant, over-the-top, styling with its distinctive fins and wild paint scheme, Jeffries deliberately designed Black Beauty to be sleek, understated, and menacing in a more subtle, sophisticated way that reflected the difference between Batman's colorful world and the Green Hornet's grittier, more realistic crime-fighting approach. This decision to turn down the Batmobile ultimately defined Jeffries' career and gave us two distinct approaches to superhero vehicles that influenced automotive design in film and television for decades to come. Fact 17. It had a flying surveillance drone. In 1960, 6 decades before consumer drones became commonplace and military forces began deploying unmanned aerial vehicles for reconnaissance missions, Black Beauty featured a small flying surveillance device called the scanner that emerged from a concealed rectangular panel in the middle of the trunk lid. This remarkable gadget, which the show described as a combination audio and video surveillance tool, could be remotely piloted to spy on suspects from above while transmitting live footage back to a television monitor inside the car, essentially giving the Green Hornet and Kato the ability to conduct aerial reconnaissance nearly 50 years before such technology became widely available in reality. The scanner's design resembled a miniature flying saucer, perfectly capturing the space-age aesthetic that dominated 60s science fiction, while also making it appear futuristic and advanced enough to believably perform its assigned function in the show's slightly heightened reality. Dean Jeffries and his team actually built a functional mechanism that could deploy the scanner prop from its hidden compartment, complete with motorized panels that opened smoothly to reveal the device. Though the actual flying and surveillance footage shown on screen was achieved through special effects and model work, rather than genuine remote-controlled flight. The presence of this technology in 1966, television was genuinely prescient, predicting a future where aerial surveillance would become routine in both law enforcement and civilian applications. Modern audiences watching the show might not realize how far ahead of its time this concept was, as today's world of readily available quadcopter drones with high-definition cameras has made such surveillance seem mundane and commonplace. The scanner represented the kind of forward-thinking gadgetry that helped distinguish the Green Hornet from other superhero shows, grounding his crime-fighting methods in technology and intelligence gathering rather than pure physical confrontation or superpowers, making him feel more like an early version of a high-tech vigilante than a traditional costumed hero. Fact 16. The original hero. Car mysteriously disappeared. Dean Jeffries constructed two complete Black Beauty cars for the television series, designated as Beauty Number 1 and Beauty Number 2, with the first vehicle serving as the primary hero car featured in most episodes and containing all the fully functional weaponry and gadgets. Beauty Number 1, the car viewers saw most often on their television screens, simply vanished after the show's cancellation, and has never been located despite decades of searching by collectors, museums, and Green Hornet enthusiasts who would pay astronomical sums to acquire this piece of television history. The whereabouts of this original car remain one of Hollywood's enduring mysteries, with various theories suggesting it might have been destroyed, sold overseas, or hidden away in some unknown private collection where its owner either doesn't realize what they possess or chooses to keep it secret. Meanwhile, Beauty Number 2, which was built primarily for promotional appearances and car shows, but also appeared in one episode where both cars were needed for a chase sequence, survived, and eventually found its way to the Peterson Automotive Museum in Los Angeles after a circuitous journey through various owners. After the Green Hornet's cancellation, Beauty Number 2 was abandoned on the 20th Century Fox backlot, where it sat deteriorating for years before being purchased by an anonymous woman in Beverly Hills who inexplicably allowed it to continue rotting on her estate rather than restoring or properly storing this unique piece of pop culture history. A Southern California man eventually rescued the car in 1993 and commissioned Dean Jeffries himself to restore it to its original glory, a process that took months and resulted in the pristine condition example that now resides permanently in the Peterson Museum's Hollywood Gallery. The loss of Beauty number 1 represents a tragic gap in television history, as that car contains subtle differences from its sister vehicle and represented the actual machine that Bruce Lee sat in during filming, making it an irreplaceable artifact that may be gone forever. Fact 15. It could, theoretically, hang upside down from the garage ceiling. One of the most ingenious aspects of Black Beauty's design involved how it was stored and deployed from Britt Reed's garage, a process that included retractable rams mounted barely visible next to the rocket launchers below the front bumper that were designed to clamp onto the underside of a rotating garage floor. According to the show's internal logic, these specialized mounting points allowed Black Beauty to hang suspended upside down beneath Reed's ordinary Chrysler 300 convertible, completely hidden from view, until a secret control panel activated a complex sequence that would flip the garage floor like a coin, swapping the civilian car for the crime-fighting machine in a dramatic reveal that became one of the series' most memorable recurring visual elements. Dean Jeffries actually fabricated these retractable rams as functional pieces of hardware rather than just cosmetic additions, demonstrating his commitment to making every aspect of Black Beauty mechanically legitimate, even when the actual upside-down suspension depicted on screen was achieved through camera tricks and a specially constructed rotating platform at the studio. The engineering challenge of creating mounting points strong enough to theoretically support the Imperial's massive 2.5-ton weight, plus the estimated additional 1,000 pounds of custom metalwork, weapons systems, and electrical equipment, would have been substantial, requiring reinforced attachment points integrated directly into the vehicle's frame, rather than just bolted to the body panels. This hiding mechanism represented a brilliantly creative solution to the problem of how a wealthy, high-profile newspaper publisher could conceal a heavily modified, weapon-laden automobile without arousing suspicion from employees, visitors, or potential enemies who might recognize the distinctive vehicle from crime scenes. The elaborate garage transformation sequence appeared in virtually every episode, becoming as iconic to the Green Hornet's mythology as Bruce Wayne's Batcave entrance was to Batman, though Black Beauty's mechanical flip-over system felt more grounded in plausible engineering than sliding down a bat pole or driving through a hidden waterfall entrance. Fact 14. The green headlights used polarized light technology. Black Beauty's distinctive green headlights weren't just a cool visual gimmick. They were supposedly based on advanced polarized light technology that only the Green Hornet and Kato could properly utilize through special translucent green visors that flipped down inside the vehicle. According to the expanded mythology explained in the related Green Hornet Gold Key comic books, these polarized headlights emitted a specific wavelength of green filtered light that, when viewed through the matching polarized visors worn by the car's occupants, provided illumination nearly equivalent to conventional white headlights, while appearing almost completely invisible and impossibly dark to anyone without the specialized filters. This ingenious concept allowed the Green Hornet and Kato to navigate through darkened streets with full visibility, while remaining essentially undetectable to criminals or police officers who might be searching for their distinctive vehicle, giving them a tremendous tactical advantage during nighttime operations. In practice, however, the television show faced technical limitations that prevented the headlights from actually flipping or rotating as originally designed, forcing the green filters to remain permanently deployed throughout filming, regardless of whether the scene called for stealth mode or normal operation. Observant viewers watching episodes can notice this discrepancy, particularly in daytime scenes where the green headlights look somewhat incongruous, though most audiences were too caught up in the action to notice this minor continuity issue. The polarized visor system created an interesting visual effect in some early episodes where Bruce Lee's face appeared tinted green when filmed through the windshield, since he was supposedly looking through the deployed filter, while Van Williams' face appeared in normal lighting, creating an unintentional but eerie asymmetry that added to the show's distinctive visual style. This attention to pseudoscientific detail in explaining Black Beauty's capabilities helped ground the Green Hornet's world in a more realistic technological framework compared to Batman's often fantastical gadgets, suggesting that these were actual inventions Kato had engineered rather than impossible comic book contraptions. Fact 13. It featured retractable brooms to sweep away tire tracks. Among Black Beauty's more unusual defensive features were a pair of motorized brooms mounted in the trunk that could descend from behind the rear wheels to sweep away tire tracks left in dirt, sand, or dusty roads, theoretically allowing the Green Hornet and Kato to pursue criminals through unpaved areas without leaving evidence of their passage that police or rival criminals might follow back to their secret headquarters. These track-sweeping brooms represented the kind of practical, thoughtful crime-fighting technology that distinguished the Green Hornet from flashier superheroes, addressing the realistic problem of forensic evidence in an era when tire track analysis was becoming increasingly sophisticated in actual police investigations. Dean Jeffries built fully functional, motorized brooms that could actually deploy and retract on command from the control panel in the rear passenger compartment, complete with the hydraulic systems and electrical motors necessary to lower them into position, and presumably spin or vibrate them to effectively disperse track marks. Ironically, despite being engineered to work perfectly and representing a significant investment of time and fabrication effort, these brooms never actually appeared deployed in any broadcast episode of the Green Hornet's 26-episode run, making them one of Black Beauty's ghost features that existed fully formed but never received their moment on screen. The fact that such a clever and fully operational gadget went completely unused highlights how the show's brief single-season run prevented many of Black Beauty's capabilities from being properly showcased, leaving modern fans to wonder what other elaborate chase sequences or tactical maneuvers the producers had planned but never filmed. Some entertainment historians speculate that the track-sweeping sequence might have been scheduled for a second season episode that never materialized after ABC canceled the series, or perhaps the effect simply didn't photograph well during testing and was quietly abandoned in favor of the more visually dramatic rocket launches and gas deployments that did make it to air. Fact 12. The interior had hidden compartments never shown. On television, Black Beauty's rear passenger compartment concealed numerous hidden storage compartments specifically designed to house the Green Hornet's signature weapons, like his non-lethal gas gun and his famous Hornet Sting, a specialized weapon capable of penetrating steel, along with various other crime-fighting equipment that Britt Reed and Kato might need during their nocturnal adventures. These secret compartments were fully constructed and integrated into the car's custom interior during the initial build, complete with concealed latches, spring-loaded panels, and carefully upholstered covers that maintained the vehicle's luxurious appearance while hiding an arsenal within arm's reach of the rear seat passenger. Like the tire track sweeping brooms, however, these hidden weapon storage systems never appeared in any broadcast episode despite being completely functional and ready for their close-up, representing another example of Black Beauty's capabilities that exceeded what the show's abbreviated run allowed the producers to demonstrate on screen. Dean Jeffries' meticulous approach to building television cars meant that he created these features not just as non-functional props for background detail, but as legitimate working mechanisms that actors could actually operate during filming, maintaining his philosophy that everything should genuinely function rather than relying on camera tricks or post-production effects to create illusions. The existence of these unseen compartments adds another layer to Black Beauty's mystique, suggesting that the vehicle possessed even more capabilities than viewers ever witnessed, and raising tantalizing questions about what other features might have been demonstrated had the show continued beyond its initial season. Modern fans examining the surviving car at the Peterson Museum can actually see some of these hidden compartments, finally revealing secrets that 1960s television audiences never knew existed beneath the Imperial's elegant leather upholstery and wood trim. The compartment's construction quality matches the rest of Jeffries' work, with precise panel gaps, smooth operation, and thoughtful ergonomics that would have allowed Van Williams to quickly access his weapons during action sequences without fumbling or breaking character. Fact 11. 29 cars were destroyed, making the 2011 movie When director Michael Gondry and star Seth Rogen decided to bring the Green Hornet to the big screen in 2011, car coordinator Dennis McCarthy faced the monumental challenge of finding enough 1965 Chrysler Imperial Crowns to support the film's extensive action sequences and inevitable vehicular destruction. McCarthy's search took him across North America, from San Diego to eastern Canada, scouring junkyards, estate sales, and private collections for Imperials in any condition, eventually locating 29 examples that could be purchased and modified into Black Beauty replicas for production. Most of these discovered Imperials existed in absolutely terrible condition after decades of neglect, with more rust than actual steel remaining in their bodies, forcing McCarthy's team to completely strip the vehicles down to their bare frames and essentially rebuild them from scratch using whatever original body panels could be salvaged or fabricated. The modification process went far beyond cosmetic changes, as McCarthy replaced the original Chrysler powertrains with modern Chevrolet ZZU 454 cubic inch V8 engines, Racetrans Turbo 400 transmissions, 4 differentials, and 4 wheel disc brake systems to handle the demanding stunts and high-speed sequences the script required. Finding replacement body panels proved particularly challenging since Chrysler stopped manufacturing Imperial-specific parts decades earlier, forcing McCarthy to track down an eccentric 80-year-old collector in Washington state who owned an entire collection of Imperials but absolutely refused to sell complete vehicles under any circumstances, agreeing only to part with individual components piece by piece. Out of those 29 heavily modified Imperials, only one survived the production completely intact with its full complement of working weapon systems, the twin hood-mounted machine guns, front and rear bumper missile launchers, and grille-mounted flamethrower, making it an extremely rare piece of cinema history that was subsequently given away by Sony Pictures as a grand prize in a nationwide sweepstakes before eventually appearing at various collector car auctions. Fact 10. The car's control panel required operators to sit cross-legged. Black Beauty's elaborate weapons and gadget systems were operated through an incredibly complex control panel that emerged from a hidden cabinet in the rear passenger compartment. But the engineering required to pack all this technology into a production sedan created an unexpected problem. There was virtually no legroom left for the people who needed to actually operate these controls during filming. The main control panel featured multiple rows of buttons, toggles, and switches that could deploy everything from the rocket launchers to the rotating license plates. And this massive array of controls required a dedicated battery and hydraulic pump system that consumed every available inch of space beneath the rear seats and in the footwells. Additionally, a second 2 rows deep set of controllers was integrated into the passenger side armrest, creating even more functional switches, but further reducing the already cramped interior space to almost claustrophobic dimensions that made normal sitting positions completely impossible. The technicians and operators responsible for triggering Black Beauty's various mechanisms during filming had to either sit cross-legged in the limited space available, or, as some crew members joked, be amputees to fit comfortably in the compartment while maintaining access to all the necessary controls during takes. This practical limitation meant that operating Black Beauty's full arsenal required careful choreography and planning during action sequences, as the hidden operators needed to coordinate their button pushing with the actor's dialogue and the director's timing, while contorted into uncomfortable positions in near total darkness behind the partition that separated them from the front seats. Dean Jeffries prioritized functionality over comfort when designing the car's interior layout, reasoning that the impressive on-screen results justified the temporary discomfort experienced by crew members during filming, and that television audiences would never see or know about the awkward human origami required backstage to make the magic happen. The confined quarters also meant that only smaller crew members could effectively operate the systems, leading to a running joke on set about which technicians could successfully fold themselves into Black Beauty's rear compartment without triggering switches accidentally, or getting stuck in positions they couldn't escape from between takes. Fact 9. It had an actual working telephone. In 1966, Decades before car phones became status symbols in the 1980s and long before mobile phones revolutionized communication, Black Beauty featured what appeared to be a working telephone mounted in the rear passenger compartment that Britt Reed could theoretically use to contact his newspaper office or receive updates from his secretary while prowling the city streets in search of criminals. The phone itself was actually a conventional household princess phone. The sleek, compact desk telephone design that was popular in upscale homes during the mid-60s that Dean Jeffries installed as part of the car's elaborate control console to enhance the illusion that this was a fully equipped mobile command center. While the phone wasn't actually connected to any functional telephone network and couldn't make or receive real calls during filming, its presence in the vehicle represented remarkably forward-thinking product placement that anticipated the eventual reality of mobile communications by nearly 2 decades. The Princess phone's distinctive design, with its lightweight handset and modernist styling, fit perfectly with Black Beauty's high-tech aesthetic, while also being instantly recognizable to television audiences as a symbol of contemporary luxury and sophistication, rather than science fiction gadgetry. In the context of the show's slightly heightened reality where Kato could build flying surveillance drones and polarized light systems, viewers apparently accepted that he could also engineer a mobile telephone connection in 1966, even though actual car phone technology wouldn't become commercially viable until AT&T introduced its first cellular system in 1979, more than a decade after the Green Hornet's cancellation. The inclusion of this seemingly mundane detail actually demonstrated sophisticated world-building, suggesting that Black Beauty wasn't just armed with exotic weapons, but also equipped with practical communication tools that would genuinely enhance the Green Hornet's crime-fighting effectiveness by keeping him connected to his information network while on patrol. Fact 8. The doors were replaced with electric switches. In keeping with his philosophy of streamlining Black Beauty's exterior appearance to create smooth, uninterrupted body lines that enhance the vehicle's menacing profile, Dean Jeffries completely eliminated the Imperial's original door handles and replaced them with concealed electric switches that open the doors via motorized actuators hidden within the door frames. This modification served multiple purposes beyond mere aesthetics, as it prevented potential enemies from easily accessing the vehicle if they discovered it parked somewhere, added to the car's futuristic and sophisticated appearance, and solved the practical problem of maintaining clean body lines after Jeffries had painstakingly removed all the Imperial's chrome trim and welded smooth the bumper lines to create his signature seamless look. The electric door release system required careful engineering to ensure reliability, as malfunctioning doors during filming could have caused serious production delays or even trapped actors inside the vehicle during action sequences. So Jeffries installed redundant systems and manual overrides that could be activated from inside if the electrical components failed. Visitors to the Peterson Museum, who examine the surviving Black Beauty, often don't immediately notice the absence of exterior door handles because Jeffries' bodywork is so expertly executed that the doors appear to be part of one continuous surface, with only subtle panel gaps revealing where the doors actually separate from the body. This attention to detail extended to the rear suicide doors, which Jeffries also fitted with electric releases, while maintaining the Imperial's distinctive rear-hinged opening configuration that allowed easier access to the spacious rear compartment where the Green Hornet rode while Kato drove from the front seat. The switch-operated doors became another example of Black Beauty's blend of practical technology and visual sophistication, transforming a standard luxury sedan feature into something that felt custom-engineered and exclusive, reinforcing the idea that this vehicle was a one-of-a-kind creation rather than just a modified production car. Fact 7. All the gadget labels were written in Chinese. When Dennis McCarthy's team built the Black Beauty replicas for the 2011 Green Hornet film, they made an interesting creative decision that paid homage to the character of Kato, while adding authentic detail to the vehicle's interior. Every single label identifying the car's various weapon systems, gadgets, and controls was written exclusively in Chinese characters rather than English. This choice reflected the fact that Kato served as Black Beauty's primary driver and the brilliant inventor who had designed and installed all the vehicle's advanced technology. making it logical that he would label his own creations in his native language rather than catering to his employer's linguistic preferences. The decision added visual authenticity and cultural specificity to the vehicle, while also creating interesting story possibilities, as it meant that Britt Reed would be completely dependent on Kato's expertise to operate most of Black Beauty's systems, unable to simply jump into the driver's seat and deploy weapons without his partner's guidance or prior instruction. Jay Cho, who portrayed Kato in the film, brought international star power to the role as one of Asia's most successful actors and musicians, and the Chinese labeling served as a subtle acknowledgement of the character's heritage and the franchise's significant popularity in Asian markets, where Bruce Lee's original portrayal had made the show a cultural phenomenon. From a practical filmmaking standpoint, the Chinese labels also looked appropriately technical and mysterious to Western audiences who couldn't read the characters, enhancing the sense that Black Beauty's systems were advanced and sophisticated without requiring elaborate CGI or special effects to convey that impression. The attention to this small detail demonstrated the production team's commitment to creating a fully realized world rather than just slapping generic labels on prop switches, and it rewarded observant viewers who noticed these touches with a deeper appreciation for the thought that went into every aspect of Black Beauty's design. Fact 6. The car rode on custom 20-inch wheels for the movie. While the original 1960s television, Black Beauties rolled on the Imperial stock 15-inch wheels that were standard for the era, Dennis McCarthy's team equipped the 2011 film versions with massive custom 20-inch wheels that dramatically altered the vehicle's stance and gave it a more aggressive, contemporary appearance suitable for modern action sequences. This 5-inch increase in wheel diameter might not sound particularly dramatic, but it completely transformed Black Beauty's proportions and road presence, lowering the visual center of gravity while filling the wheel wells more completely, and creating a muscular, planted look that suggested serious performance capability beyond the original car's somewhat softer luxury sedan character. The larger wheels also accommodated the upgraded brake systems that McCarthy's team installed to handle the demands of high-speed stunt driving and precision action sequences that would have overwhelmed the Imperial's original drum brake setup, with modern 4-wheel disc brakes providing the stopping power necessary to safely execute the film's elaborate chase scenes and vehicular stunts. From a purely aesthetic standpoint, the 20-inch wheels gave Black Beauty a more menacing and purposeful appearance that read better on the big screen in high-definition cinematography, where the original 15-inch wheels might have looked undersized and inadequate beneath the Imperial's massive 19-foot body. The wheel upgrade represented part of McCarthy's broader philosophy of modernizing Black Beauty's mechanical systems while maintaining visual fidelity to the original. Design's overall spirit, acknowledging that contemporary audiences expected a certain level of aggressive styling and performance capability from action movie vehicles that the more restrained 1960s approach wouldn't satisfy. This attention to stance and proportion demonstrates how seemingly minor modifications can dramatically impact a vehicle's presence on screen, and the oversized wheels became one of the most immediately noticeable differences between the original television car and its big screen descendant. Fact 5. The original cost: $50,000. In 1966, Dean Jeffries' complete customization of the original Black Beauty carried a reported price tag of $50,000 in 1966, an absolutely staggering sum that needs proper context to appreciate its true magnitude. This was enough money to purchase approximately 10 brand new Chrysler Imperial Crown sedans at their retail price, or to buy a spacious 4-bedroom house in many American suburbs during that era. When adjusted for inflation, that $50,000 investment translates to roughly $470,000 in today's currency, placing it in the same financial territory as exotic supercars from Ferrari or Lamborghini, and demonstrating the extraordinary commitment that 20th Century Fox made to creating a vehicle worthy of rivaling Batman's already famous Batmobile. A significant portion of this budget went toward the elaborate paint process with its 30 coats of hand-rubbed lacquer, but the remainder covered the extensive metalwork required to remove all chrome trim and create seamless body panels, the fabrication of all custom weapon systems and deployment mechanisms, the installation of complex hydraulic and electrical systems throughout the vehicle, and countless hours of skilled labor from Jeffries and his small team of expert fabricators and customizers. Unlike modern productions where computer-generated effects can create the illusion of fantastical vehicles for relatively modest budgets, everything about Black Beauty had to actually work in physical reality, requiring real engineering solutions to problems like how to make rocket launcher panels retract convincingly, or how to deploy a flying scanner from the trunk lid using 1960s technology and materials. The investment paid dividends in creating a vehicle that looked and functioned like a genuine piece of advanced technology rather than an obvious prop, lending credibility to the Green Hornet's world and establishing a standard for television car customization that influenced decades of subsequent productions. Jeffries himself later reflected that the budget, while generous by television standards, was actually quite modest, considering the scope and complexity of what he accomplished, requiring creative problem-solving and efficient use of materials to deliver a finished product that exceeded the producer's expectations, while staying within financial constraints. Fact 4. ABC was called the two-car network because of it. During the Green Hornet's original broadcast run from September 1966 through March 1967, a TV Guide article referenced disparaging comments circulating within the television industry that mockingly referred to ABC as the two-car network because the struggling third-place broadcaster was relying so heavily on Batman's Batmobile and the Green Hornet's Black Beauty to drive ratings and capture audience attention. This backhanded criticism reflected the industry's perception that ABC was depending on vehicular gimmickry and superhero spectacle rather than sophisticated storytelling or prestige programming to compete against the more established CBS and NBC networks, which dominated the ratings with variety shows, westerns, and traditional dramas that didn't require expensive custom automobiles or elaborate special effects. The label stung because it contained an uncomfortable grain of truth, as ABC had indeed positioned both shows as cornerstone programs in their primetime lineup and heavily promoted the iconic vehicles in advertising campaigns, recognizing that the cars generated tremendous public interest and merchandising opportunities even if the shows themselves received mixed critical reception. Batman's camp aesthetic and over-the-top, villains had initially attracted huge audiences before viewer fatigue began setting in during the show's second season, while the Green Hornet struggled to find its identity, caught between wanting to emulate Batman's success while also attempting a more serious, realistic tone that didn't quite connect with viewers expecting similar campy fun. The two-car network's nickname represented the kind of insider snark that Hollywood trades in, but it also acknowledged ABC's willingness to take creative risks and invest in visually spectacular productions that pushed the boundaries of what television could accomplish on a weekly episodic budget. Ironically, both vehicles far outlasted their respective shows in the public consciousness, becoming enduring pop culture icons that remain instantly recognizable more than 50 years later, suggesting that ABC's strategy of creating memorable automotive characters was actually more successful than their critics initially recognized, even if the shows themselves didn't achieve sustained ratings dominance. Fact 3. Bruce Lee's career launched from the driver's seat. While the Green Hornet series only lasted one season and 26 episodes on American television, achieving modest ratings and never matching Batman's cultural penetration in the United States, the show became an unexpected phenomenon in Hong Kong and throughout Asia, where it was marketed and broadcast as The Kato Show, with Bruce Lee receiving top billing over Van Williams. Lee's magnetic screen presence, revolutionary martial arts choreography, and charismatic guys' performance as the Green Hornet's sidekick resonated powerfully with Asian audiences who had never seen someone who looked like them, portrayed as the most competent, dangerous, and cool character in an American television production. This overseas success directly led to Bruce Lee being offered a film contract with Hong Kong's Golden Harvest Studio, launching the series of martial arts movies, including The Big Boss, Fist of Fury, Way of the Dragon, and Enter the Dragon, that would transform him into an international superstar and fundamentally change how martial arts and Asian culture were portrayed in Western cinema. The ironic twist is that Lee's association with Black Beauty and the driver's seat of the Green Hornet's signature vehicle provided the exposure that enabled his ascent to global fame, even though the show itself was canceled after a single season and is largely forgotten by mainstream American audiences who weren't alive during its original broadcast. Lee's untimely death in 1973 at age 32 cemented his legendary status and ensured that his brief tenure as Kato remains one of the most significant performances in television history, far outweighing the show's limited commercial success or critical recognition during its original run. The Green Hornet's greatest legacy might ultimately be serving as the launchpad for Bruce Lee's career rather than any particular merit of the show itself, though this shouldn't diminish the genuine quality of Lee's performance or the chemistry he developed with Van Williams as they navigated Black Beauty through the streets of fictional Centennial City, pursuing justice. Fact 2. It could deploy ice, oil, and smoke from special exhaust systems. Beyond the obvious weapons like rocket launchers and machine guns, Black Beauty possessed several more subtle defensive capabilities, including a special exhaust device that could spread ice over roadways behind the vehicle, creating hazardous conditions for pursuing cars, while the Imperial's substantial weight and specialized tires maintained traction. The car also featured deployable nozzles that could emit streams of oil or grease from the rear valance, transforming clean pavement into a slippery obstacle course that would send following vehicles spinning out of control, and drop-down gas guns at both the front and rear that could lay down thick smoke screens to obscure the Green Hornet's escape route or disorient criminals during confrontations. These defensive systems reflected a more strategic, tactical approach to vehicular combat compared to the purely offensive weaponry, acknowledging that the Green Hornet would often need to escape situations or create diversions rather than simply overwhelming opponents with firepower. Dean Jeffries engineered functional versions of these deployment systems with actual motorized nozzles and retractable panels that could extend and retract on command, maintaining his commitment to practical effects and real mechanical operation rather than relying on post-production trickery to create these sequences. The ice-spreading exhaust system was particularly clever from a storytelling standpoint because it provided a plausible explanation for how Black Beauty could outdistance police vehicles during chase sequences, not through impossible speed, but through tactical deployment of obstacles that forced pursuers to slow down or lose control. These systems also added an element of psychological warfare to the Green Hornet's methods, as criminals who had previously encountered Black Beauty would know that attempting to follow or chase the vehicle could result in humiliating crashes or disabling damage to their own cars, potentially deterring pursuit before it even began. The variety of deployment options gave the show's writers multiple tools for resolving chase sequences and creating suspenseful moments where Kato had to choose the appropriate countermeasure from Black Beauty's arsenal. Fact 1. Only one fully armed movie car survived production. Out of the 29 Chrysler Imperial replicas that Dennis McCarthy's team painstakingly rebuilt for the 2011 Green Hornet film, only a single vehicle emerged from production, completely intact, with its full complement of operational weapon systems still installed and functional. The twin hood-mounted machine guns, the front and rear bumper rocket launchers, and the grille-mounted flamethrower that made it a genuine rolling arsenal rather than just an impressive-looking prop. All the other Black Beauties were either completely destroyed during the film's extensive action sequences, damaged beyond economical repair during stunt work, or stripped of their weapon systems and converted to background vehicles or partial cars used for specific camera angles that didn't require full functionality. This lone survivor represents an extraordinarily rare piece of cinema history, a genuine screen-used hero vehicle from a major motion picture that retains all the custom modifications and practical effects that made it special, rather than being a sanitized museum piece or a replica built after the fact. Sony Pictures initially gave this unique car away as the grand prize in a nationwide sweepstakes conducted in conjunction with restaurant chain promotions when the film was released in January 2011, creating one incredibly lucky winner who suddenly owned a one-of-a-kind piece of automotive cinema history worth potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. The car subsequently appeared at various prestigious collector car auctions, including Barrett-Jackson, where it was described as the only remaining fully armed Black Beauty from the production, complete with its original Chevrolet 454 cubic inch engine, automatic transmission, and all the modifications that Dennis McCarthy's team had installed to transform a neglected old Imperial into a modern action. Movie star. The survival of this single complete example ensures that future generations can experience what Black Beauty looked and felt like as a real, physical machine rather than just a digital recreation or faded memory, preserving tangible evidence of the craftsmanship and ingenuity that goes into creating iconic movie vehicles that become as memorable as the characters who drive them. From its $50,000 paint job to the mysterious disappearance of the original hero car, Black Beauty proved that sometimes the sidekick's ride steals the show. If you enjoyed discovering these bizarre facts about television's most underrated superhero vehicle, smash that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into Hollywood's forgotten legends, and drop a comment telling us which Black Beauty gadget you'd want in your own car. Until next time, keep rolling in style. And remember, sometimes the best superheroes are the ones who let their cars do the talking.